Hi, I'm Barb Owen-Borger with Kooch County Community Television. I'm here today with Doug Screeve, who is the director of Kooch Aging Options. Did I get your title right?
That's right.
Okay.
Executive director.
Oh, excuse me, executive
Yeah.
director. Well, thank you very much for letting me come into the middle of your day. There may be telephones ringing here as services continue to go on.
Yeah.
But Doug, I really appreciate you giving me and KCC TV your time. I think at the time that we're filming this, we're just starting to get our first snowfall. And it made me think of how important access to resources are for those people in our community that might be challenged by varying weather situations, such as the snow.
Yes. Yeah.
And Kooch Aging Options offers a variety of services that, in any season, of course, are really valuable to the seniors in our community. Can you maybe start by giving me a little background on Kooch Aging Options, where it came from? Where did it, what was its origin?
Sure. We have been in existence for 6 years now.
Okay.
And it started in 2009 when some existing programming was sort of being let loose from another organization.
Okay, okay.
And so a group of very dedicated individuals here in the community thought, what would be best for Kooch County?
Okay.
Would that be maybe folding into county government, or would it be working with another county, or
Okay.
maybe setting up an independent nonprofit? And that's what happened.
Okay, so Kooch Aging Options is an independent not-for-profit.
That's
it's
right.
not part of county services,
That's
so to
right.
speak. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Sometimes there's a confusion with that. Anytime you have the name Kooch in it.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay.
And it gets a little more confusing because this is being filmed right now in county offices.
Right. Right.
Yeah, and that happens because County Health and now the Department of Health and Human Services
Right.
very generously donates this space to
Oh.
us and provides other kinds of support.
Okay. Wonderful.
So we know we're not on Main Street, but this has worked out very well for keeping in contact with those other agencies.
Right. That makes sense. You really have a hub here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it helped us get our feet on the ground.
I have to say that now, understanding that it's a standalone not-for-profit, that's even more impressive to me that it's come as far as it has, because it's not really that it hasn't been around that long. I don't think, in terms of trying to see a not-for-profit survive.
Sure.
So and one of the things that is really critical, I really appreciate that you gave credit to the organizations around you for helping you find a space and create a place. How does Kooch Aging Options fund itself? I'm guessing there's a lot of grant writing.
That's part of my job.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The county was very generous in the startup.
Okay.
And has continued to offer some general funding.
Okay.
And then there are other foundations in the state and area which have been extraordinarily helpful in providing general funding. Those include the Otto Bremer Foundation out of the Twin
Great to
Cities,
work with.
which realizes the profits of the Bremer Bank system. So
Right,
when
right.
somebody banks locally, that kind of helps Kooch Aging.
It really
Option,
does.
in fact.
And yes.
Northland Foundation out of Duluth, which is a regional foundation, has helped us with general funding, and now just recently with some capacity building grants.
Okay.
We also had MARDEG funding. We've had local funding like the Knutson Community
Right,
Family Fund.
Right.
And then we've also done fundraising ourselves.
Right.
Probably our most notable fundraiser is the Logging Camp Christmas each year.
The Logging Camp Christmas. What is the date of that this year?
This year it's December 4.
Okay.
It's always
okay.
the Friday after the Thanksgiving weekend.
It really is my hope that we'll be able to share this prior to that. But being as it may,
Sure.
this may come out after that. And if that's the case, perhaps we can capture some of that to share. I think it'd be wonderful.
Good.
You also depend greatly on volunteers.
Several of our programs do.
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of a mix there.
Okay.
We have a program called Groceries to You, which is a volunteer grocery delivery,
Yeah.
so that people can call on a Tuesday morning to the
Okay.
office, and a volunteer takes a grocery order for one of the two supermarkets in the Falls area.
Okay.
And on a Wednesday morning, the next morning, there are volunteers who are ready to go and do the shopping and bring the order to the home of the individual who is called.
That's wonderful.
So that would be one case for volunteers.
Okay.
Another would be Senior Wheels, which
Okay.
is medical transportation.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have an appointment out of your own community,
Okay.
that can be gotten to in a day and back.
Sure, a day trip type
A day trip,
situation.
right?
Okay.
For a routine medical appointment.
Okay.
Then there are volunteers who are ready to pick you up at your house and
That's
take you to the
fantastic.
appointment, wait for you, and bring you back home.
Wow.
Uh,
And you have, so I want to back up just a minute.
Yeah.
I get so excited, I just want to stay on a topic because it's so interesting to me. But of course, Kooch Aging Options serves a specific community. Is there an age level?
You know,
is
it
there-
changes a little bit
It-
for each program
Okay,
that we're
okay,
dealing with.
okay.
And some of that's because of federal mandates or just the way our programs have been set up traditionally.
Okay, all right.
And so it is for the older adult,
Mhm.
and that is our focus, and to support their families as
Okay,
well.
okay. So, there's.
So it might be 55 for one program, it might be 60 for another.
Right.
That's generally where some of the programs start.
And I think it's really important to know that there's some differences there because I would hope that people would err on the side of making the phone call to find out,
Absolutely.
as opposed to determining that they may not be within that age scope.
Yeah.
So that brings us really to who you're serving, and is there more detail that you can give about that, or is it really program
No, I was
specific?
thinking about a couple of other programs first.
Okay.
One is a senior companion program, and that is a friendly visit program. And we have one volunteer at present. We're always
Okay.
looking for more in this
Yeah.
area. It's
Yeah.
a large commitment of time each week, but
Okay.
really important for making a friendly visit and helping with some maybe letter writing or getting to
Sure.
the grocery store or something.
Sure. I think, so it's a large commitment. Do you have an idea of how many hours
That's 20 hours a week.
It is, okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
as a
Or
volunteer.
15 to 20.
Okay, and you're really creating a relationship and being really that touch point person for someone who maybe doesn't have that person available to them.
Right.
Yeah, or their family's working during the day or for
Exactly.
a variety of different
Right,
reasons.
Right.
Okay.
Can give a
okay.
little support to the families.
And I assume that there's also, in terms of utilizing the services that you provide or the resources, is there any kind of qualifying? I mean, does there have to be there must be like an intake or a conversation and an information
Sure.
gathering.
Sure.
Okay.
You know, and again, that kind of varies from program to program.
Right, okay.
But generally there is, yes, an intake and registration.
Okay.
And we might ask a couple of questions which have to do with income or, and as well as your residence and
Sure.
emergency contacts, that sort of thing.
But again, those are somewhat mandated by
That's right.
often the funders or the backers of the program.
That's right.
And so you also then, I would assume also on the volunteer side, there's a process to becoming a volunteer to help with services?
Yep.
Okay.
We have application forms and
Okay.
there'd be an interview and then
Okay.
a training.
Oh, good, so there's
and
training specific,
manuals,
okay.
Sure.
Okay, wow.
Policies and procedures and
That's
each of the
wonderful.
programs. Yeah.
Okay. A lot, I think sometimes we have that heart to get there and want to volunteer, but it truly is a commitment.
Yeah.
There's a process.
There is a process.
Yeah.
I think that most of our opportunities are quite flexible, however,
Mhm.
so that if one doesn't have to be at groceries to you every week.
Sure.
For
Oh,
example.
okay,
So,
okay.
that we can accommodate other people's schedules as well as.
I like that a lot, Doug.
Clients.
I mean, I think as people volunteer, we tend to kind of get one vision of what volunteering is. And if you can
Okay.
come to a place like Kooch Aging Options and see it's really volunteer options as well,
Right.
you can affect people's lives in a variety of different ways.
Right.
I think that's pretty cool.
And I'd say too, part of our service is also a professional
Okay.
service.
Yeah.
And we have a staff person, Gary Konanen, who's
Oh.
our caregiver consultant
Okay.
and program specialist.
He's
So-
hiding behind.
Yes,
Good.
he's not.
He's out of the office right now.
He is,
Yeah,
yes. But
yeah.
there's opportunity for another interview for you.
Yeah.
And in the caregiver consultant role,
Okay.
that is to support those people who are providing care to an older adult or to
Okay.
someone who may have a dementia. And if they're getting stressed because of the burden of taking care of a parent and children,
Sure.
and they're wondering what resources are available, what services can accommodate them.
Right.
They might need a little help just planning for themselves.
Sure. How to balance.
Right.
Yes.
So we're here to help walk through some of that process and continue to provide support.
Are you seeing more and more of people in that caregiver role utilizing the services?
Yeah, it's interesting for Kooch Age County, and I think for a lot of rural communities,
Okay.
is that people tend to want to be independent as long as possible.
Yeah.
And the downside of that is that it sometimes results in a crisis that brings them to
Okay.
the services rather
Okay.
than planning ahead.
Okay.
And it's not just that we would prefer that people come in earlier than later, but for them and the stress level of the caregiver
Right.
or the individual themselves who might be looking at their options for aging, whether that's making some financial plans or
Okay.
things like power of attorney, doing an advanced directive for health care. While we don't offer legal advice, we certainly know where the forms are and
Right.
who to contact.
And
in
that
filling
advanced
out.
directive is really a standardized form in a lot of ways.
There are,
Yeah.
right, there are a few choices
So,
in that
yeah,
area.
yeah. So you're really helping kind of facilitate the life changes that come along with those role changes.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
that's
right.
really great to know that there's a place for that. I've seen it. I've seen it where, we're so emotionally invested in that process as the caregivers and the care
Yes.
receivers that it can become very overwhelming and change the relationship. So it's nice to know, and really nice to know, that there is someone who can come in and kind of help organize and reset that process.
Sure. Yeah, reset or reframe
Sure.
what the roles are
Yeah.
and how that's changing. Absolutely.
And I think it does mitigate some of that stress that comes from wanting to do everything and be everything.
Yes,
Yeah.
a very difficult role to let go of.
It is,
Because
yeah.
you've been so important all along.
So we covered a bit about what Kooch Age Options is. A couple of the services. Are there other services or resources that you can help people navigate as well? We talked about the groceries to you, the caregiver support,
Right.
the driving people to the medical. What is that again?
Right.
I'm sorry. The name
The
of it.
senior wheels.
Senior wheels.
Yeah.
Okay.
And groceries to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there
Yeah.
other? I looked at I know I've seen your brochure, and it's
Uh-huh.
quite extensive.
Yeah. One thing we're working on right now is a new initiative in the area of dementia.
Okay.
And memory loss or cognitive impairment. It comes
Sure.
with various terms.
Yes.
Or more generally, Alzheimer's.
Sure.
And we were able to receive some funding to do public surveying
Oh.
to see what the community needed in terms of dementia.
Okay.
And a couple of priorities popped up, and one was that there be a single point of contact in the community, someone who's not an 800 number.
Someone who's real.
Someone who's
and
real.
local.
And local, right.
Yes.
And can talk about,
Okay.
what happens in the case of a diagnosis.
Where do we go from here?
Right. What
Okay.
community and social supports are there.
Okay.
Another priority was to have a little bit of what is called respite, giving a little bit of a break for
Mhm.
the caregiver.
Sure.
So those are the two priorities, and we hope that funding will be in place in 2016 to make both of those a reality.
Okay.
So,
Okay. So
and
that's
our caregiver consultant, Gary, will be that point of contact for dementia sufferers and their families.
so what you've done so far is the research and
That's right.
and the planning. The planning is current. I'm assuming that you're kind of in that planning stage
Yes,
and
that's right.
circling the wagon, so
Right,
to speak.
right.
And that we need to pay attention, and we're going to have to talk about that
Yeah,
as that evolves.
in early 2016.
Yes,
Yeah, it's been a real exciting process. There's
yes.
a statewide collaborative called Act on Alzheimer's.
Okay.
We've had funding from them.
Okay.
And communities are doing different things to raise awareness. And one of the ideas is to become a dementia-friendly community.
Okay. Yeah.
And we know, when we're talking about this population, that our older adults in the county, by percentage, is
Right, yes.
increasing faster than any other part of the
Yes,
population.
it is.
And that's a little different than other parts of the country, but Minnesota is aging.
Mm-hmm.
The baby boomers are coming to that age where they're needing more and more services.
Right.
And the people are living longer, and that makes a big difference as we look at the demographic shifts that affect our clientele and what we're offering.
It seems to me that timing is great. So often we hear about research, and then you hear 4, 5, 6, 10 years down the line, there'll be action.
Sure.
So it's very heartening to me to hear that this is something that within the next year or so
Yeah.
is really going to be touching our community. And we all know people that are affected by that at varying levels, varying degrees. I can see the community really finding hope in that.
Good. Yeah.
And it makes me really proud to be part of Kooch Age County because it shows that we're taking care of a need that's very real.
Yes.
Shows great action. Anything else that is new to you or anything upcoming that you'd like to share?
I think that's a lot
The big-
for
it is.
our small organization.
Yeah,
you know,
it really is. I think that a couple things people would like to get out of our conversation
Mhm.
is who to contact, and we will have a slide up with that information
Okay.
to make sure that
Right.
people have it. I'm going to take some brochures, and we're going to play a little bit with information off your website as well because it's beautifully done.
Good.
It's really well done. That's www.koochagingoptions.org.
Right.
Yes, it's a long one,
Yes.
but I was really impressed with it when I looked through
Good.
it.
We can thank Gary.
Oh, is he the one who took care of
Social
that?
staff.
Wow, what a great asset to have.
Yeah.
I think that clarity of communication, anytime that you can make those resources visually impactful right away,
Sure.
and that was my experience looking at it. Especially when you have so many things to offer, really people are looking for that one point of contact and where do we go from here.
Right.
They may not even know what their needs are fully until they become part of a conversation about what's available.
Yeah, that's interesting too. You know, a lot of people might call about groceries
Mhm.
and find out that there are other services,
Yeah.
or it leads to a more general conversation about, you know, where they're at and what else they might need. So
We're very lucky to have Kooch Aging Options in this community. One stop, you get the information that you need, possibly even find out that there's more for you there than you expected in the phone call.
yeah,
And I think the longevity of you in this position has really helped with that growth in the right direction, Doug. How long have you been with?
since the beginning of the
You
organization.
have,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
So about 6 years now.
And that leadership in smaller not-for-profits makes a huge difference in how it comes together. So that's,
Yeah.
we're really lucky to have you.
I was going to say, in terms of contact, you know, the internet is one way.
Yes.
But we know a lot of people in the county don't have that immediate
They
access.
do not.
And so, you know, there is a toll-free number and
Okay.
a regular, you know, general number, and that's
Yes.
where you would begin.
Okay, and we will have those numbers on the screen.
Good.
We'll also make sure that as we put together lists of community resources, upcoming events, that Kooch Aging Options is part of that.
Great.
Let's let people know where you're located right now.
Yeah. We're in the Forestland Annex,
Yep.
which is the old Forestland Elementary School next to Bacchus Community Center. And we're on the second floor.
Easy to
So
find.
you can come to the front desk either on the first or second floor, and you'll be directed
Which is
to our
exactly
office.
what I did, because
Good.
it's been a long time since I've come to your office, and I thought maybe they moved. So yeah, and they're just wonderful here. I think what's really great about you being in this building is that this is a community service atmosphere. There's a culture here of helping people.
That's right.
So they were wonderful at the desk downstairs. They were wonderful at the desk when I got here,
Good.
and very welcoming and an easy place to come to.
Good.
Anything else we should add?
That's what's on my mind at the moment.
I think you answered all my questions great. I want to stay in contact with you, and as things continue to evolve, especially with the information that you shared with me just now about the memory care and,
Right.
and dementia and Alzheimer's, that whole piece coming together, reach out to me anytime. And I also would encourage people to call Doug, to call Kooch Aging Options, both for services and to find out how you can volunteer and help other people in our community.
Good.
This is a generous and big-hearted community, and we're lucky. So let's make sure that we're letting people use their gifts
Yes.
and support everybody in our community. Again, thank you, Doug,
Thank you.
and we'll be in contact.
Good. Thanks.